I know they're talking about you. And I know it's been getting to you. And I know that things are hard and times are tough. But you know what? I got good news for you. You're totally unstoppable. Ain't no mountain high enough, there ain't no valley low enough, there ain't no ocean wide enough to keep me from my dreams. I fully made up my mind to leave the past behind, seek until I find my destiny. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. In the face of every obstacle, I'm moving ahead unstoppable, knowing nothing's impossible if only I believe. I'm reaching for the unreachable, feeling for the intangible, looking for the invisible, because I believe. I'm totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Let me tell you now, every obstacle presents an opportunity. Every rock I see a stepping stone. The only limitation is in my imagination. Doesn't matter what they say, I'm gonna do it anyway. There's no triumph without a trial, no gain without the pain, no glory without a story, no might without the fight, no victory without a victim, no message without a mess, no testimony without the testing. So step by step, totally unstoppable. Hey, good people, God bless you, God bless you. Welcome and welcome. Great to see folks coming in already. This is Bishop Wayne Malcolm, the business bishop, live and direct, and you have tuned. You know what? You're in the right place at the right time, because it's tonight that we devote to our blessed business coaching tips. So I want to serve to inspire and motivate and illuminate, educate, elevate those entrepreneurs among us who are on a mission and an assignment. So great to see folks coming in. Perhaps you could write in the chat box, let us know where you're coming in from. I can see Henley, and Henley asks, is this your original song, Bishop? Yep, that's me. Totally unstoppable. Perhaps we'll play that again at the end. But thank you for the question. So perhaps if you could just write in the chat box where you're coming in from, and let's make this as live and interactive as possible. All right, Fort Lauderdale in the building, and you are most welcome. Let me say to those who are new to the channel, we post 3 times a week. So on Tuesday is the Blessed Business Coaching Tips. On Thursday, we have a Kingdom Conversation, bit of an international Bible study. And then on Sunday, I post a sermon. And so the channel is loaded with lots of good things. So please do go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Please do like the post. And of course, share it with your family, friends, neighbors, and networks, and let them know that Bishop Wayne is live and direct on this Tuesday. Great to see you, Tina. Great to see Atlanta in the building, and CyberTube and all that. Look, great to see you. I'm going to dive in right now because we're going in deep. Okay, let me check my sound effects. We're going in. Yeah, we're going in deep. So let's dive in right now. Because tonight I want to talk about achieving mastery, and I want to talk about the journey from good to greatness. Obviously, there's a great book out that I highly recommend by Jim Collins called From Good to Great, in which I guess he identifies the hallmarks of greatness that indicate a company or an organization's likelihood to survive and thrive through turbulent times. It's a really great read, and I certainly encourage it. Today, I want to talk about mastery, and I'm going to kick off with a scripture. So it's 1 Corinthians 9, verse 25 to 26. And Paul says here, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Okay, so whoever's striving for the mastery exercises discipline and self-restraint in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown. He's really speaking about sports and athletics here. But we an incorruptible. I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Well, it's powerful. It's Old English, I know, but it really does illustrate the point that actually if you're going to play, then play to win. And if you're serious about winning, then you will need to practice discipline and exercise self-restraint, delay gratification, make the sacrifices necessary to be the best version of you and to be your best when it's needed most. This is a hallmark of greatness. And I want to talk about greatness, and I want to talk about mastery. So I'm going to kick off with some context for the concept. I want to talk about from good to great. I want to look at levels of knowledge, the learning cycle, and then the vital few. So here's the concept and its context as in these 3 bullet points. Being good is not good enough. Woo! Being good is not good enough. You must become intentional about greatness. All right? So whatever line of business you're in, whatever function you fulfill in your business system, being good at it is no longer good enough. It's no longer acceptable. Actually, it's like a minimal requirement. Actually, if you're going to stand out and be noticed, if you're going to attract significant attention, if your value and the value of your contribution in the marketplace is to go up, then you must become intentional about greatness. Intentional about greatness. So I wonder if someone would write in the chat box, I'm intentional about greatness, right? I'm intentional about greatness, because good isn't good enough. You have to become intentional about becoming great in your field. I like what someone just put in the chat. Good is the enemy of greatness. Powerful. Okay, so what this is going to mean is identifying the 20% and eliminating the 80%. So I'm going to deal with the Parto Principle today. The Parto Principle, I guess it's named after an Italian economist at the turn of the last century, Vilfred Pareto, who came up with this theory about the causes of our consequences, the causes of our consequences. And he basically taught that 80% of our consequences or our outcomes were due to only 20% of our activities. 80% of our best outcomes were due to only 20% of our activities. And so if we're going to become great, we're going to have to let some things go. We're going to have to outsource. We're going to have to delegate. We're going to have to bin some things. We're going to have to choose our battles. We're going to have to pay attention to the things that are making the biggest difference in our business. Identify the 20%, eliminate the 80%. It also means playing to your strengths while outsourcing your weaknesses. And of course, years ago, in the personal development space, people thought about achieving balance and kind of identifying your weaknesses and kind of building yourself up where you were weak so that you could have some sort of balanced strength. But what we've since realized is that you should, instead of trying to get good where you're currently weak, you should identify your strengths. You should play to your strengths. You should become great where you're currently good. And by playing to your strengths, you can always outsource your weaknesses. You can delegate, and you can appoint others who are strong where you are weak. But if you are strong, play to your strengths. So that's what we're dealing with. So here goes. Good will get you in the gate. Good will get you in the gate, but greatness will put you in the palace. Woo! That is worth a round of applause. Good will get you in the gate, but greatness will put you in the palace. Now, in the ancient world, cities were kingdoms. Cities were called kingdoms. You'll read about some of the cities in the Bible, and they each had a king, and they were referred to as kingdoms. And in every kingdom, there are two strongholds, right? The two strongholds in every kingdom are, first of all, the gates, and then secondly, the palace. And these are strongholds because you position your troops in defense of the city at the city gates, right? Because people are not really attacking the wall, right? They're going to attack the gates. You position your troops at the gates, and then if people get through the gates, well, that gives them access to the city. But if they seize the palace, they now have control. Okay, so elite forces would guard the palace. When it comes to the kingdom of business, and when it comes to business kingdoms, the principle holds true, right? Being good at something will get you in the gate. Right? If you're good at it, you can get in the business. If you're good, you can get in the industry. If you're good, you can get in the sector. If you're good, you can set up a website and start advertising your services. If you're good, you're going to get a few customers. You're even going to get a few clients. But in order to seize the palace, right, which is the seat of government, the house of the throne, the place of power, where you have some control, some authority, where you can exercise leadership, where you stand out and are noticed and have influence, right? Good won't get you in the palace. Good will get you in the gate, but greatness puts you in the palace. So you're going to have to decide now, do I just want to be in the industry, or do I want to dominate a niche? Right? Do I just want to be in business, or do I want to become a business leader? And again, a lot of these phrases are thrown around synonymously as though they mean the same thing, right? We have to think seriously about the meaning of these phrases, such as, a business operator versus a business owner, okay? So you can be good and be a business operator. But if you're going to be a business owner, right, where you're working on the business, not simply in the business, where you're primarily responsible for strategy and direction, and an ambassador for your brand, then it's greatness that will put you in that palace. Greatness will put you in that palace. Being good will get you in the gate, but being great is going to put you in the palace. How many of you have already decided that the palace is my portion, that I am destined for the palace? I'm called to the palace. I've been chosen for promotion, and I've been selected to win in this business thing. If that's you, I want you to write something in the chat box. Let me know that you're not content with simply getting in the gate. You're actually looking for a place in the palace. So what I've written here is that being good at something is now the minimal requirement for business. It's like a minimal requirement. It's entry level. And of course, years ago, we used to obsess about customer satisfaction. Well, guess what? Customer satisfaction is now the minimal requirement for going into business. Actually, if you're going to survive the changing landscape and terrain of business, and if you're going to thrive, and if you're going to build something that serves you, that serves your life, your lifestyle, your legacy, if you're going to build something like that, you have to go beyond satisfying customers. You've literally got to amaze them. You've got to delight them. You've got to blow their mind, and you have to go the extra mile, and you have to go above and beyond, so that you're not simply good at your business, you're actually great. All right, because good is now average. Good is the new average. Okay, greatness is what makes you extraordinary, makes you stand out, get noticed, and exercise influence or authority in your field. And so, one more time, I'm looking at the chat box. Someone said the palace is my portion. I'm not just trying to get in the gate. I am called to the palace, okay? Like Joseph in Egypt, he was positioned in the palace. Like Esther in Persia, positioned in the palace. Like Moses, for the first part of his life, was positioned in the palace. Like Nehemiah had favor in the palace. Like Daniel operated in the palaces of pagan kingdoms, in the very seat of government, the house of the throne, the place of authority, control, and influence. And that's where God puts his chosen special agents. God doesn't just want you in it, he wants you to win it. Woo! He don't just want you in it. Come on now. He wants you in the palace. So when it comes to greatness, okay, one of the areas, one of the most important areas that we should focus on is our level of knowledge, increasing our level of knowledge. And when I say knowledge, I'm not really talking about academic knowledge or historic facts and figures. I'm really talking about know-how, right? When I say knowledge, I mean know-how. And there are levels of knowledge in every field, levels of know-how in every field, levels of wisdom in every field. And when you come into the business, you're always going to bring to your business a level of know-how, right? So that's how you got started in the first place. You bring a level of know-how to the business. However, there are several levels of knowledge that you can aspire to, okay? So what got you in the gate will not get you in the palace. And you have to be intentional about greatness, intentional about growing your knowledge, growing your skill set, growing your capacity, growing your ability. You literally need to become intentional, strategic, and deliberate, focused, disciplined in this matter, growing your level of knowledge. So let's look at these levels. The first is general knowledge. General knowledge is available on a Google search or a YouTube channel. So if all your knowledge about your business is coming from Google searches and YouTube channels, congratulations, but all you have is general knowledge. And general knowledge may make you good, but it's not going to set you apart as great. Number two is specialist knowledge. And that's where you zoom in on an aspect of your field or of your business so that you can specialize. All right. So you might zoom in on the marketing and the sales. You might zoom in on the customer service and fulfillment. You might zoom in on the business processes and systems. But see, once you zoom in and you have specialist knowledge, that increases your value to the company and to the marketplace, because you may have come in with some know-how, but you've grown your know-how and you now have some specialist knowledge. All right, number three is what I call breakthrough knowledge. Breakthrough knowledge. And that's a unique take on a specialist area, right? So when you have a unique take on a specialist area like marketing, like staffing, like systems automation, you choose, that aspect of your business that you now have such specialist knowledge that you're actually able to add a perspective to that nobody else has. That is your own contribution to the conversation. And look, if you simply get to that place where you have breakthrough knowledge, in or breakthrough know-how because you've specialized in an aspect of your business and you can now contribute to the conversation, and people are inviting you to speak on their platforms. They're inviting you onto podcasts. They are gleaning from you in terms of your own literature, your own courses. They're gleaning from you because you have a unique take on an aspect of business success. That's breakthrough knowledge, right? So you want to go from general knowledge to specialist knowledge, from specialist knowledge to breakthrough knowledge, and then there's another level called genius knowledge. Genius knowledge. I want someone to write in the chat box, I am a genius. And I know you might be speaking by faith, but speaking by faith is cool. So genius knowledge. This is the application of specialist and breakthrough knowledge. So you're a genius when you're able to apply your specialist knowledge to different situations and secure outcomes that other people are struggling to achieve. You manage to achieve an outcome in that field, whereas everyone else said it's not possible. You are the genius who's able to apply your specialist and breakthrough understanding to the perplexity of the situation and change an outcome for your organization. That's genius knowledge. And see, when you go into business, don't be satisfied with the general knowledge that got you in the gate. Become intentional about building your library. Become intentional about getting a mentor. Become intentional about studying the field until your knowledge gets you to the place where you are simply a genius when it comes to how you do your business. And the final level I've got here is mastery. And mastery is the mentor and the maker of specialists and geniuses, right? So even geniuses, right, and specialists, they look up to a mentor and someone that can make and take them a little bit further. Eventually, you want to become that person that other businesses in your field are looking to you for ideas, for understanding, for strategy, for solutions. And it's at this point that you have achieved mastery. Guess what? You can be good at lots of things, but you will only ever be great at a few things. So this is where you're going to have to select. You're going to have to choose where you place your attention, where you focus your attention, and where you invest your energy. Because if you spread yourself too thin, you become the jack of all trades, but you master nothing. You're going to have to select some things to outsource, to delegate, to ignore, potentially, to bin, to shelve, whilst you focus on the few things that are having the biggest impact on your outcomes in business. So I've said here, identify the few areas of excellence that will contribute the most to your success in business. See, here's what most people don't understand. They think that to get more out of the business, they have to do more in the business. And we get stressed out about scaling the business or about getting more or being bigger, because we think that to get bigger and to get better, then we're going to have to do more. But here's the mystery. Here is the mystery. If you miss the mystery, you've missed the lesson. Here is the mystery. You can only get more in business by doing less. Woo! I said you can only get more in business by doing less. And this means that you are doing less of the things that are not contributing to your greatest success. And instead, you're doubling up on the few things. You're getting excellent in a few things, and your excellence in those few things is now contributing mightily to the big picture of your success. Now, I want to talk about the learning cycle for just a moment and say, don't be afraid of learning a new skill. Don't be afraid of learning a new skill. Everyone that's right now at the top of their field was once at the bottom, okay? And they got to the top by taking incremental steps in that direction. And these incremental steps will eventually become monumental gains to where that person is now at the summit, at the peak of a mountain, but they started at the bottom. So don't be afraid of learning a new skill. Instead, be afraid of not learning new skills, right? Because if you don't learn new skills, your general knowledge may get you in the gate, but it's never going to put you in the palace. The skill set that you brought into business when you started will get you in the gate. It's not enough to put you in the palace. So be afraid of not learning new skills. And secondly, be afraid of learning a skill you didn't need to learn, because you could have outsourced that. You could have delegated that. There's software that could have automated that. But instead, you're spending months trying to learn how to do something that's just adding to your workload, taking away from your area of excellence. Now, here's how we learn skills. We learn skills in stages, and here are the stages. Number one, it starts with a conscious incompetence. Okay? Well, I'm going to start it here. Most people start this with the unconscious incompetence, but I'm going to start at the point where you realize, I don't know how to do this. This needs to be done, and I don't know how to do this. You're now conscious of an incompetence. So what you have to do next is become conscious of the correction. And this is where you commit to learning. And you say, okay, look, I don't know how to do this. It needs to be done. And it's in my area of excellence. And so I'm going to commit to learning. I'm going to become intentional about learning how to be good at this particular thing. Now, if it's marketing, branding, sales, whether it's automation, fulfillment, customer service, administration, whatever it is that is in your area of excellence that you bring to the business, become conscious about the correction. Number 3, bottom left, is once you've learned a new skill, you will have a conscious competence. A what? A conscious competence. That means you have to think about it. You can do it, but you really have to think about it. It's like driving. When you first learn to drive, they teach you to mirror, signal, maneuver. They teach you to hold your hands at 10 to 2. At least they do in the UK, right? Hold your hands at 10 to 2 and mirror, signal, then maneuver. Check your mirror, make your signal, then move. So when you first start driving, you have to be conscious of that. You have to think about that. You have to remember that. And so you're driving and it's uncomfortable, but you are driving. That's a stage in the process of learning a new skill. But if you keep doing it, it becomes an unconscious competence. It passes from all of this conscious effort to a place of unconscious ease. Like eventually in the car, you get in the car and you can't even remember how you got from where you are to where you were going, because it's all natural. It's now encoded in you. So whatever the skill, know that even if right now you're just conscious that you can't do it, if you stay in that cycle, there'll come a day where you do in your sleep what it took you days to do in the past, weeks to do in the past. You'll just wake up and do it for breakfast in the morning. The Parto Principle applies here. The Parto Principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, the law of the vital few, and the principle of factor sparsity, states that for many outcomes, roughly 80% of the consequences come from 20% of the causes. That's the vital few. If you study your business very carefully, you are going to find that 80% of your results, 80% of the results you desire, the results you like, are only coming from 20% of your activities. And the other 80% of your activities are only contributing to about 20% of your results. And so if you're going to become great, what you have to do is identify the 20%, the vital few, the things that really give this business, its power, these things that make this business grow, these things that make the business work. Identify the 20% and decide that you're going to find a way to outsource the 80%, delegate the 80%, perhaps replace replace some of those activities with software that can automate those activities so that you get to focus on the 20%, the vital few factors that are contributing to your success. And I'm going to tell you what the vital few typically are. In business, there are a few roles that you should aspire to greatness in. A few, and here they are, just two. Number one is ideas. You need to be the thinker in your business who has long-range vision and is able to put together a strategy. You need to become the strategist, the thinker, okay? The ideas person, the person who can see it from a panoramic view, the person who can take the long look, the person who can set pace, direction. Very important that you become the brains, okay? If you're going to focus on something, become the brains. And number two is communication. And that's your ability to speak and to present, because your business happens as you speak and present. Business happens, you get partners or shareholders and stakeholders through the power of your presentation. You get prospects through the power of your presentation. You get customers and sales through the power of your presentation. So you want to become an excellent communicator and you want to become a great thinker. Because guess what? God made you in his likeness and image. You are therefore part of the thinking class. You are not supposed to be paid for what you do with your hands. You actually get paid for what you do with your mind. The original job description of Adam was a thinking role. It was a thinking role. It only became labor after the curse. So you want to work yourself out of the labor side of your business. It might take a year, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years for you to get out of the tactical, operational, day-to-day stuff and into the strategic thinking and communication side of your business, which is where the real value is. Wow and wow. So I'm going to close by inviting all of you to my webinar that I am doing this coming Thursday. This Thursday, I will do the Kingdom Conversation, but later on in the evening, I'm going to do a webinar entitled The Industry of Ideas. It's a special webinar. There is a link in the description below this post, certainly on YouTube. You'll see a link in the description, and I want you to sign up for the webinar because I'm going to explain the oldest and most lucrative industry in the world. It involves the commerce of knowledge and the industry of ideas, the business of beliefs. And I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to explain how it works and why it might be the answer that you're looking for, even in your business. It's been great sharing with you. I am going to have to go because I have a class of coachees and mentees who are waiting for me on the other side. Please put a comment in the chat box. I'll hang around for a minute or two just to read your comments. Peace out and shalom. I know they're talking about you. And I know it's been getting to you. And I know that things are hard and times are tough. But you know what? I got good news for you. You're totally unstoppable.